you have a question or request for content on the show, contact Almost Legal Podcast on Twitter or email almostlegalpodcast@gmail.com.
Pulling out the coupe at the lot, Tony fuck 12, fuck SWAT, busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box, had to put the stick in the box. Pour up the whole damn seal, I'ma get lazy. I got the mojo deals, we been trapping like the 80s. She said the nigga so, got the cash out. Told him wipe a nigga no, say slash slash. I won't never sell my soul, and I can back that. And I really wanna know where you at, where? I was at that, where the stash at? Cruise the city in a bulletproof Cadillac. Cause I know these niggas out there where the bag at. Gotta move smarter, gotta move harder. Nigga try to give me 5 mile water. I lay his ass down on my son, on my daughter. I had the Draco with me, Dwayne Carter. Lot of niggas out here playing, ain't ballin'. I done put my whole arm in the rim, Vince Carter. And I know Poppy get a key for the quarter. Shawty barely seen the double C's, I bought her. Got a bitch that's looking like a Leah, she a model. I got the pink slip, my whip is keyless. Compton, I'm about to get the key to the city. Patty, light up the city. Forgetting out the coupe at the lot. Tony fuck 12, fuck SWAT, busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box, had to put the stick in the box. Pour up the whole damn seal, I'ma get lazy. I got the mojo deals, we been trapping like the 80s. She said the nigga so, got the cash out. Told him wipe a nigga no, say slash slash. I won't never sell my soul, and I can back that. And I really wanna know where you at, where? I've been moving them out. And steal it with me, then he got the blues in the pouch. Took her to the forest, put the wood in the mouth. Bitch, don't wear no shoes in my house. The private I'm flying in, I never wanna fly again. I take my chances in traffic. She sucking on dick, no hands with it. I just made the rolling plane like a landing strip. I'm a 2020 president candidate. I done put 100 bands on Zimmerman shit. I been moving real gangster, so that's why she pick a crit. Shawty call me Chris Cole, cause I pop my shit. Got it out the mud, there's nothing you can tell me. Yeah, when I had a job, South Street wealthy. Yeah, I had the coupe at the lot. Tony fuck 12, fuck SWAT, busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box, had to put the stick in the box. Pour up the whole damn seal, I'ma get lazy. I got the mojo deals, we been trapping like the 80s. She said the nigga so, got the cash out. Told him wipe a nigga no, say slash slash. I won't never sell my soul, and I can back that. And I really wanna know where you at, where?
Just be sure to subscribe. And if you have a question or request for content on the show, contact Almost Legal Podcast on Twitter or email almostlegalpodcast@gmail.com.
I can't let these niggas knock me off my pivot. God sat me down and talked to me, I listened. I was in that cell, he told me that I'm get that I don't make it in the booth, then I'ma make it in the kitchen. I'm special with the mic, special with the whipping. I ran out of money, had to pay attention to all the people that were around me. They ain't have my best interest. You ain't have my best interest. You lazy with your loyalty and your position. And now I gotta execute cause you don't listen. That throwaway on me dumping with precision. I know Charlotte on my trail cause she see it take it. My friend, you can't flag it. Y'all need to be flagged and pull outs, you feel me? If you finna do it all the way. Fuck it, what it is. When I'm ready from Pearly White, you Pearly White. Don't know what can. I can take some more pain. Fuck it. I got everything I want. I read between the...
Just be sure to subscribe. And if you have a question or request for content on the show, contact Almost Legal Podcast on Twitter or email almostlegalpodcast@gmail.com.
Pulling out the coupe at the lot. Told him fuck 12, fuck SWAT. Busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box. Had to put the stick in the box. Pour up the whole damn seal. I'ma get lazy. I got the mojo deals. We been trapping like the 80s. She said the nigga so. Got the cash out. Told him wipe a nigga no. Say slash slash. I won't never sell my soul. And I can back that. And I really wanna know where you at. I was at back, where the stash at? Cruise the city in a bulletproof Cadillac. Cause I know these niggas out there where the bag at. Gotta move smarter, gotta move harder. Nigga try to give me 5 mile water. I lay his ass down on my son, on my daughter. I had the Draco with me, Dwayne Carter. A lot of niggas out here playing, ain't ballin'. I done put my whole arm in the rim, Vince Carter. And I know Poppy get a key for the quarter. Shawty barely seen the double C's, I bought her. Got a bitch that's looking like a Leah, she a model. I got the pink slip, my whips, ski lips. Compton, I'm about to get the key to the city. Patty, lighter, city. Forgetting out the coupe at the lot. Told him fuck 12, fuck SWAT. Busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box. Had to put the stick in the box. Pour up the whole damn seal. I'ma get lazy. I got the mojo deals. We been trapping like the 80s. She said the nigga so. Got the cash out. Told him wipe a nigga no. Say slash slash. I won't never sell my soul. And I can back that. And I really wanna know where you at.
Boom, and it's just me and my sick Ric Flair saucy bossy. It's me again. It's going to be one of those bullshit, boring episodes where I just talk about random things. Right now, we got the Democratic debate going on. I got me source going there. Other than that, I need y'all to start commenting on some stuff while we go, because it's just me again. And you know how awkward it is when I do it. See, I'm just rubbing my legs all awkwardly. I literally have so much going on. I need another producer type guy. I need a studio. I need to get my shit together, I think. That's what it sums up to. Hold on. Hello. Okay, yeah, it sounds good. I have my deaf ear hearing my audio, so I might just take these off. Does that sound pretty good? All right, anyway, this week, let's see, since it's just me, we'll just kind of flow through some shit going on today. And I need to stop saying shit. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fought. And it was a very hyped up thing. I was in the middle of a softball tournament, which started at 9 a.m. and we didn't get home till about 3:30. Usually that means we did real good, but not this time. We were playing at, I forgot the original park we were playing at. We were playing in Montgomery, and we're due to play another game at 6. So it's right at daybreak, and all of a sudden this little transformer box, just you hear poof, and just smoke comes out. All the power at the entire park goes out. So then we're like, oh, shoot, okay. We're going to try to get some power guys out here, fix it. You know, if we can't fix it, we'll go to the lagoon. So that obviously is what ended up happening. We didn't end up starting that game till about 8:45. Then we got on a heater. You know what they say, never leave the table when you're on a heater. And yeah, end of the story. Anyway, so as long as this game took to start, not game, but fight started, you know, I've been highly excited about watching this fight. Like, I was, every inning that came, they would tease us, like, you'd see Fury about to come out, like, oh, Fury's coming out. So I'd go out in the field and be like, holy shit, come on, hurry up and get it out. Fight's about to start. Then you come out and he's just getting in the ring. Then you see Deontay Wilder coming out and you're like, okay, good. And then we go back out in the field and I'm like, come on, hurry up. Will you hurry up? And it didn't start about 11:15, and it was a colossal ass whooping by Tyson Fury. There's few reasons he ended up doing a TKO in the 7th round. He pretty much, ever since he hit him in the ear, like round 2, round 3, he just had nothing to add to the onslaught of Tyson Fury. Like, it was insane. I'm flying through this because I don't really give a shit about it. But Deontay Wilder's one excuse of why he lost was because of this his little get out. When as soon as I saw it, I was like, this dude's about to lose. Coming out here looking like Optimus Prime. He said it weighed 40 pounds and his legs were fatigued. That's why he lost. And I think you lost because you get your ass whipped by dad bod of the century. Look at this. Like, just if you bet on just physique, Wilder would win 9 times out of 10. Like that one year when that chick bet the house on all the teams that basically she liked the jersey the most on March Madness, and she ended up winning $1 million. It's equivalent to that, just a little bit different. No one's commenting. This is a new format for this live stream thing. I don't know if people are commenting or not. I think they are. I don't know. Let me try to comment. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? All right. Anyway. So, yeah, that's basically what they did. Right now, you got like I said, you have the... Oh, shit. What did I just do? Picked the wrong thing to use as a hotkey. Yeah, I know. All right, you got Bernie Sanders winning. God, I'm so not energized, dude. Today's been a rough day. It's been a rough week, really. I feel like all this rain is just putting me in a bum mood. I'm going to stop going off the script. Last time I used to do that when I was new at this, and it just didn't go well at all. Because I feel like I have to stick to it. If you haven't noticed, I'm like, I have tabs open and stuff. So I'm just going to screw it and stop doing this. All right, so right now, the big things that grabbed my attention this week is I saw an article. It doesn't matter which source because there's multiple sources, Washington Post, New York Times, basically saying Russia is said to be interfering with the aid. Oh, wait, no. Russia is said to be interfering to aid Sanders in Democratic primaries. So, boom, you got public boogeyman number one, Russia. Guess what? We all know that Trump's the biggest culprit to claiming the boogeyman Russia is interfering. But look at this. Bernie Sanders, what? The leading Democratic candidate for the presidency of 2020 is now being investigated for having Russian aid. Guess what? Guess what those two people have in common? You got Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. What do they have in common? Don't worry, I'll wait. It's not the Russian thing. They just happen to be the two people on this planet right now that the Democratic Party wants to not win the presidential nominee / presidency. That would be if Bernie Sanders wins the nomination. There's no way they can cheat him out twice. But if he wins the nomination as a Democratic president, that is the death of the Democratic Party as we know it. And it's obvious they constantly want to cheat him. Look at Iowa. Look at everything. You got Pete Buttigieg. I hope I say his name right. Booty Juice, as we said last episode. He's being funded by your Silicon Valley, so all your giant tech companies. Then you got Bloomberg, which is single-handedly trying to buy out the entire company. The thing is, if you watch I watched maybe 15 minutes of the debate tonight, and they were already talking about Russian interference in the last election, 2016. And the way they were saying it, like, it infuriated me because they were sitting there like it was like fact. And they were allowing them to say this, like, oh, Trump just did this, Trump did that. What has Trump done to prove to aid Russia? They're like, oh, he's Putin's, puppet boy. No, what part of what has anything he's done been in favor of Russia? Strengthen our military? No. Okay. Being energy independent? No. Okay. What else would we have? Killing Soleimani? No. Giving weapons and aids to Ukraine and everything? No. Anything you tell me that he's done for Russia, I'll give you 10 or more on what he's done for him. and I'm about to show you a video that basically sums it up in a nutshell on what the Russians did to alter our election or interfere with our election in 2016. The real culprit of our trying to interfere with our election is our own media, our own news agencies. It's all CIA ran. It's all bullshit. Here it is.
In February, this is what the New York Times reporting. So in February 13 briefing, intelligence officials warned House lawmakers that Russia was interfering in the 2020 campaign to try to get Trump reelected. 5 people familiar with the matter said. The day after Trump berated
Thanks,
Joseph
Catherine.
Maguire,
I'm
the
struggling
outgoing
tonight.
director of national
hate doing
intelligence,
this
for
by
allowing
myself.
it to take place, people familiar said Trump cited Representative Matavchik's presence in the briefing as a particular irritant. And so this is what I say to the New York Times. There's a billionaire literally buying off one of our 2 major political parties, but okay, everyone will pretend this is real. Sorry, but I have to ask. These Russians, are they here in the room with us right now?
No, they're not in the room right now, but they are trying to turn off the power.
Your Russia bullshit is ludicrous. Why would Russia want Trump to be reelected?
Here's a point I
What
was
part
trying
of
to
Trump
remember. I forgot
giving
I had it in
defense
the
weapons
video.
to Poland and Ukraine, rebuilding our military, going all in on energy, or killing Soleimani did you think strikes Putin's fancy? Every fucking thing Trump's doing is anti-Putin.
Excuse the language,
If you look at it, everything you
I'll
can
just
say
ignore
he's
the
doing
first 10
for
minutes of
Putin, I
this.
got 10 things he's doing against him. So it's all fucking made up, and this is how the intelligence community captures the narrative, and now they're gonna fucking, by the way, they don't tell you this. They don't tell you this. Facebook, Twitter, Russia actors sought to undermine Trump after the election. They don't, where is that? Where is that story? That was one time in Politico, and that was October 31st, 2017. That's fucking Halloween. So just so you know, but this is such made up fucking bullshit. I've showed you over and
I love
over
Jimmy
again.
Dore.
How much
Jimmy
did
Dore is
Russia
not a
spend
Trump
on Google
supporter. He's
ads on every
more of a
Google platform?
Progressive. He's a Bernie fan, but he's unbiased to an extent, obviously. But he calls the media out on their bullshit, and I like that. He was actually he worked for the Young Turks, which are, no one likes the Young Turks, but yes, I like him because he'll tell you how it is.
$4,000. The price of a used Taurus. How much money did they spend on Facebook? They spent $100,000. Half of it after the fucking election. So $50,000 on Facebook and $4,000 on Google, and that's what swung our fucking election. And now you know how they think how stupid you are, that you're gonna buy this shit, and the fucking New York Times and the Washington Post is doing it fucking again. You know who the biggest fucker of elections are. The United States is the biggest fucker of elections that there's ever been in the history of the world.
Hey, Jimmy, the last slide. I really just hope the Russian actors are a part of the union.
Yeah, they get
So look at this. It
hate
says
this new
the U.S.
format.
is no
Can't
stranger
see
to
me.
interfering in
I don't get on
elections.
it.
Levin says that the side assisted by the United.
All right. Enough of that shit. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. It's all bullshit. It's all smoke screen. It's terrible. So another big scare. This is the main thing I wanted to talk about is the coronavirus. It's killing stock prices. See, off endless amounts of things. Trump is furious that the stock market is plunging on coronavirus fears. Blah 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 blah. Look, at first I thought the coronavirus is a load of horse shit. The new Ebola. The more he comes out about it, the more I'm like, okay, that's sketchy as shit. One, it's more likely to be actual biological weapon created. You got just, oh shit. Golly. Yeah, U.S. futures plunges 2.4%, extending overnight losses. Gold soars as COVID-19, which is the coronavirus. I want to do this 1,000 times tonight. Just go with it. So here's all. I don't know what any of this shit means, but it's not good, apparently. You got nearly a dozen Italian towns in lockdown, full-scale martial law rollout plan as contagion continues rapid spread. Here's another video. God, I need some help. I need somebody to comment. This is struggling. Is this really what I'm watching? Is this video? All right, so we got Chinese authorities weld residents into their apartments. Okay, yeah. Here we go. I tried to leak this. God, it's been about 3 weeks. I've heard about this through a variety of sources. Basically, when it first started spreading, you know how the Chinese government was trying to keep it hush-hush, saying, oh, it's not that bad. Only a few people did this. Well, anyway, I found videos and some dark sources saying that the authorities were literally welding people into their apartment complex to die, basically, like the entire building. And finally, this article came out, and they actually have video evidence proving it. It's a little bit better quality than the one I was looking at, but legit, just welding people in there. But this isn't the scary part. You got this, them welding people in, you know, then it gives you some fear shit. But this one is the scary shit. Because you're like, why in the hell would people do that? People are caught on camera spitting in public to spread deadly coronavirus. There's countless of them. It's like, this woman's sitting there, I don't know what, she's, you know, maybe some noodles or oodles and noodles, just chilling. You can't really see it very well, but she's sitting there just literally just licking each little package. Which that one's not the disgusting one. These elevator ones is just terrible. Terrible. That's a new word. Terrible. Old Johnny with the male pattern baldness comes and just spits. He just wipes. Look at it. Wipes this shit over here. Just wiping it. Oh, just chilling. Here we go. That better. You can see a little bit better. And that's the same one. Then they got this creepy dude. See, I don't get it. Why would they do this? Oh, shit. What did I just do? God, I need a producer type guy. God, I just need someone to actually show up and do a podcast with me. That's what I really need. So I don't have to... Actually, I need to epically fail so it'll motivate me to, like, be better. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Terry... Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Where did it come from? It's becoming more and more evident that it was actually a created virus that I think leaked by mistake or on purpose. Just look what happened this week. Stock market's plummeting. All these things happening. It's just judged by. Okay, look at the title of this thing. What goes up must come down. Trump and the Republican Party and the government as a whole, minus the Democrats, probably had their best week or weeks in years. But what, 2 weeks ago? Now it's like the polar opposite. You got all this stuff hitting the fan. It's pretty evident. I don't know. It's pretty wild, and there's a lot of crazy. Here's another one, the elevator. I don't know what it is. Basically, moral of the story is do not ride an elevator in China. Or just don't go to China. That's probably a safe bet. Look at this chick. She's being clean. She's getting her little booty wipes, and then she goes, tattoo! Just spits on it. What the hell's up with these people? And this bitch is wiping everyone's door handles. Wiping it. Why are they doing this? And it would be different if it's like one or two people. These are like multiple people. Like, why? And who's telling them to do it? Is anybody telling them to do it? If not, how does a trend like this start? You know what I'm saying? It's like a deadly virus. There's another elevator one. Did it just blow your mind? Like, what? What the hell? It'd be different if it was like isolated incidents, but this is like completely different demographics, completely different people just walking around. It makes you think. I don't know. Pretty wild. I don't know. You never hear about it in the news. All they're talking about is what silverware Trump eats with, you know, and it's manufactured in a company that's owned by a Russian. Shut up. No one gives a shit. And you got these like articles where you actually do some digging and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. Oh, damn it. I need my hotkey is whatever makes it go to that screen. So Rockefeller plans detailed government takeover through pandemic martial law. So that's a thing. They had coming this past week. They had a thing pop up. And what's your take on the overall outbreak in the United States? I don't know much about the overall outbreak in the United States. I was about to get into what they rumored to have the coronavirus contagion quarantine thing in Anniston, and that itself just puzzled me. I'm like, why Anniston? I don't get it. Like, what do they have in Anniston? That's what boggles my mind, and I'm about to find out. Let's look. I'm by myself. This is already a shit show, so I'm just gonna look. Just worry about more you comment, the better it gets. I promise. Anniston coronavirus. Not needed at the time. It was never needed at the time. Alabama FEMA facility will be used as quarantine. Why Anniston? I'm going to put why. Why Anniston? I ain't going to say it. It's not designed to hold. No shit, it's not designed to hold. Officials say Anniston facility not designed to hold these people. Yeah, no, it's not. It's you picked Anniston, Alabama. Like, I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to look at the coronavirus in America. Coronavirus in United States. Boom. All right, so live updates, spread of contagion appears inevitable. Health officials warn. See that it's gonna be an initial rampant spread because we don't know its half-life. We don't know signs that much, and the real screwed up by China is allowing thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people to fly, where people are just locked inside this airtight, pressurized vehicle flying through the air, where everyone's breathing the same air, which as contagious as it seems, it almost guarantees you get infected somehow. Then they all part ways, and then it's literally just, I don't know the word I'm looking for, where everything kind of just spreads. It just blows my mind. I don't even know. No, I got into a rabbit hole at work the other day, and I got about... I forgot what it was. My boss always just shits on me and calls me a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. Then I show him a declassified CIA document, and he's still like, "Oh, that could be fake." I'm like, "It came from the government website." So, well, why would they have made? If it was so damning, why would they make it declassified? I was like, I don't know, the Freedom of Information Act, which is a good question. And then you got the JFK files, and I was like, if they really had something damning, like, couldn't they just play that was like a clerical error? And just, it got deleted. Oops. That's what happened to Jeffrey Epstein's footage. He's like, we accidentally deleted that shit. Oops. Look, that's what I said. If y'all follow this podcast when it was actually running, not me sitting in front of it by myself rambling about shit that doesn't even make any sense. I told y'all when that big file dump of the JFK files came out, I read about 1,500 of them. You didn't learn anything really new. You learned that people were, questioning it. And you learned that Hitler was still alive 10 years post his death, but in Argentina. But what I did notice, which is what made me even more of a conspiracy theorist than I already was, is a pattern. A pattern. It seems like every conspiracy handled by the government always has the same tell. And it's the inconsistency. They pledge negligence, and it's you can't argue it. They all have the same tells, and the moon landings. If it happened or not, regardless, all the telemetry data for every single Apollo mission was missing. No one knew where the hell it was. They're like, hey, where's the telemetry data, which tells you where the rocket is, when, the vitals of the astronauts. Pretty much every useful information you need to prove that we were where we were when we were. Well, they were like, all right, let us get back to you. 4 years go by, and they're like, okay, so here's what had happened. We had a shortage of tapes, and we taped over them, so we don't have them anymore, which is bonkers in my mind. Chris, who does a podcast with me, he's an NASA fanboy, and he's like, well, maybe they just didn't think it was that important. That's basically what I just was like, what? It's not that important, really. That's the greatest man's feat ever. Great man feat. And another argument I have for that is the reason we were actually so far behind the Russians up until about a year or two prior to that Apollo 11. And the reason we jumped from point A to point B so fast is because of the insane amount of money we put into the program and research and development, stuff like that. Okay, so that money that we used that was so insane and made us made us improve so fast, we couldn't afford tapes. This boggles my mind. But that's just that case. You got which another conspiracy we got? JFK. It's enough. That's too deep. I can't go in there. But there's a lot of inconsistencies. You got 9/11. There was a countless amount of things that just didn't make any sense. The average response time for a commercial aircraft flying off course for longer than whatever the response time the mark is, where you got to send jets, is like minutes. There was over an hour. And some of them, and they didn't even have jets issued really on all occasions, but it was over an hour before they were even notified on 3 separate occasions. That never even happened ever. You had my biggest thing was when the plane hit the Pentagon. How did they know that it was going to the Pentagon? It's safe to say the Washington airspace is probably one of the most guarded airspace on the planet, right? So they allowed this big Boeing 747 to fly through Washington, D.C., unaltered, unintercepted, nothing, and flew into the Pentagon. How do they not know it was going to the White House? And how do they not know it was going to the Capitol? Which leads to our next inconsistency of things on what they did. President George Bush's itinerary was public knowledge for about a month or two prior to that. He was in a public event at an elementary school reading to some children. Everyone knew where it was. How did they not know those planes were headed to that elementary school? Wouldn't it be protocol to lock them up immediately? After he was notified that the planes were hijacked, he remained, because he didn't want to panic the children, he remained seated in that classroom for over 33 minutes. How did they not know? How did they know? How did they know that it was the only isolated incidents? No one knows. Just a bunch of them. I don't even remember how I got on this topic. What was I talking about? I don't even remember. I'm going off on a rabbit hole, and I don't remember how I got on. I was on a flight the other day, and this guy was freaked out the whole time, wiped down everything within arm's reach, and tried to cover his mouth with his shirt. The amount of chemicals in his detergent would freak this guy out. It's so true, though, for real. I see all these memes where it's like, you see this guy in a car, and he has like PVC pipe with plastic around him, and it's like Uber drivers in China. Like, it's just, that would suck, dude. That would suck bad. It just, the amount of, like, I don't know, social engineering they do to just try to subliminally make us fall in line just boggles my mind. Oh, that's where I was going. Oh, I told you about my boss calling me a tinfoil hat. Sorry. Anyway, so I went through and found like 500 declassified documents of interesting topic, variety of conspiracies. And that's what I'm about to go through. I just got to find them. I don't even think I hope they saved. It said error saving, but I don't know. It might have saved some of them. I had like 500 of them. Ooh, cool. Operation High Jump, which is just where the U.S. Naval went down to Antarctica. Stargate Selection. The Stargate Collection is when the CIA hired a bunch of psychics to do remote viewing, and apparently they successfully viewed structures on different planets, things like that, which was kind of now the Gulf of Tonkin. The Gulf of Tonkin incident is the single reason we went to war with Vietnam. So let me look in here, and I'll explain to you why the Gulf of Tonkin is important. Death total of I want y'all to know how my mind works. Vietnam War. Because this is already a shit show, and I'm going to get made fun of. All right. The U.S. military has estimated that between 200,000 and 250,000 South Vietnamese soldiers died in the war. In 1982, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was dedicated to in Washington, D.C., inscribed with the names of 57,939 members of the U.S. Armed Forces who had died and were missing as a result of war. There's more, too. Hold on. Open this bad boy up. Oh, forgot to put total deaths. All right, total deaths of Vietnam War. Okay, here we go. Not until 1995 did Vietnam release its official estimate of war dead, as many as 2 million civilians on both sides and some 1.1 million North Vietnamese and Viet Cong fighters. The U.S. military has estimated that between 200 and 250,000 South Vietnamese soldiers died in the war. So how many does that make? What's that make? That's millions of deaths. That is ridiculous. Okay. So basically, moral of the story is the Gulf of Tonkin, which was where the Vietnamese ships attacked our ships. It happened 2 separate times in 2 days. They were both false. Both attacks didn't happen. That's the single reason that got us into a war. Both attacks never happened. We made them up. Flat out. We made up an attack in order to... We were pushing to get into a war before that. You had the Cuban Missile Crisis. You had Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods is what gave credence to maybe why 9/11 possibly happened under government control. Like, the government would never do that. No, the government has tried to plan that. That's basically what they did it. Operation Northwood is they planned attacks on civilians on U.S. property using mercenaries or people equivalent to that dressed up as Cuban exiles and say they're doing it for Castro. Well, they basically did that to try to motivate us to go to war with Cuba. Well, anyway, it went across Kennedy's death. He shot that shit down. Funny fact about Bay of Pigs, where everyone's like, Kennedy got cold feet and left all these people stranded. Actually, he found out due to declassified documents, he found out that they were planning on assassinating Fidel Castro, and he said, no, not happening, and pulled everybody off, and actually fired the head of the CIA at the time, who then was put in a high member in the Warren Commission, which ended up investigating his assassination in the first place, which is kind of weird. But anyway, that happened. So you got MK. Think about this core group of people that are in intelligence agencies from the end of World War II. They lied about Hitler's death. If you don't believe that, look at documents. Look at research. Do your research in Argentina, South America. There is countless amounts of communities, hundreds of thousands of people, and in these communities, their primary language is German. How the hell does that happen? Anyways, there was a photo of them in these files that showed Hitler, and I don't know how and why he's in the JFK files, but it happened. So you got that, then you got the JFK assassination, the MLK assassination, the moon landing. Watergate, which isn't a conspiracy, it happened, but Watergate, they all have the same tells. But I have all these documents, about 500 useful documents, pretty much. So anyway, you got MK Ultra. MK Ultra, y'all keep up. I'm flying through these. So what we go through? We went through Northwoods. I'm not getting in JFK. It's too deep. We had Northwoods, which was us planning false flag attacks on Americans on American soil to justify a war with Cuba. You had Gulf of Tonkin, which was the false flag attacks that actually took place against American ships to motivate people to go to war with Vietnam, which rumor has it that Lyndon B. Johnson, who is a complete psychopath, signed a paper and said, "You want a fucking war? Here's your fucking war," end quote. So now you got MK Ultra. MK Ultra is where acid come from, LSD. LSD was created. They were trying to create a perfect spy to go against Russia. It's crazy how it's the same boogeyman throughout time. Russia. That was our excuse for everything. Oh, we did it to stop the spread of communism. That's our excuse to infiltrate shit back then. Anyway, MK Ultra was created to, like I said, to try to manipulate mind control, basically. So this is the effed up part of this. It started off where they had CIA had a control of this doctor who had these sleep studies. There's another quote, and have people would come in for a sleep study and unknowingly give them like 12 hits of like pure acid. Well, then they stopped doing that because there was a paper trail, and they started hiring prostitutes and bringing them to hotels where they had staged rooms and they had one-way mirrors or whatever, and they would just look into them, and they once again gave them like 12 hits of acid without even knowing. Jason Payne, who's that? What up, homie? What's up, Jason? Anyway, give them 12 hits of acid. This came to light originally when people were having lawsuits, probably because, hey, I tripped my ass off, and it's like I'm still tripping for like 2 days, probably. That's MK Ultra. There's documents there. I'd show you, but I don't know. I'd have to download them. Right now, I'm just kind of looking as a head. Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip is pretty funny to me because it's so close to home. Operation Paperclip really chaps my hide is because recently they had one of the last Nazi prison guards alive on American soil. He's been hiding, and they sent him back because he had committed war crimes because he's such a terrible person. But then you get to Operation Paperclip is when, I guess, if you have something to offer. So Werner von Braun might sound familiar. He was the head of NASA during the moon landings. Was big with Disney. He was the creator of the Valkyrie rocket, which was the first intercontinental ballistic missile. That's what helped the Nazis decimate London because they could shoot them from the place. He was our target number one when we infiltrated Germany. We went to him first because we didn't want Russia to have him. And we said, hey, we'll try you for war crimes, or you can work with us. And he's like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll do that. So he went to a little place called Huntsville, Alabama. Him and 1,500 plus Nazi scientists went there. It was all conspiracy at the time, but now declassified documents, it's fact. So basically, yeah. So we employed a shit ton of Nazis, and they pretty much ran it. Which comes to my running joke is, yeah, you throw out the 6 million Jews that Hitler killed. Hitler's pretty influential in the evolvement of humankind technologically. Which, don't get me into Hitler either, because Hitler, obviously popped on the scene out of nowhere. But no one asked, where did the money come from? Like, where did he get the funding? Because after World War I, they were broke. Then all of a sudden, he has all this money. I'll tell you where. It was U.S. Actually, George Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, And the bank actually was one of the largest funnel at the what the bank's called. So when they show that iconic shot of down the tracks going into Auschwitz, that was pretty much single-handedly funded by U.S. companies. And you got Miss You Dickhead, get some beers and see this weekend. What's up, Ashley Page? What's up, homie? Anyway, you had AT&T, which provided top-of-the-line telecommunication for every concentration camp. IBM gave them things to keep logs with everything. It just blows my mind. No one talks about it. Obviously, you know why, because it's still fun most of what goes on in the world today. Shit, man. I got heartburn. So basically, yes. We got Operation Paperclip, Operation Gladio. I forgot what Operation Gladio was. Let me pull this up. I think, what was this? Operation Gladio was basically giving remnants here. I'll pull this up. Oh, shit. I did it again. All right. Mr. John Greenwald, I refer to require the data the defense release materials and freedom of information. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go through and see if we can get something fun. You are looking at declassified document right now. Okay, here we go. Oh, shit, man. That's a lot of reading. I was hoping to be something fun. Basically, it gives credence to maybe ISIS is a CIA state. It's basically talking about us creating CIA enemies to further our needs in certain areas and try to get resources and stuff like that. Kind of like how the rumor or the conspiracy of the reason why we're in. There's a reason we were still in Afghanistan, not Iraq. Basically, what I'm trying to say. You got the opioid crisis, which, let's see, pre-2001, opium or the heroin export in Afghanistan is at an all-time low, below 9%. And we've been in control of them ever since. And as of like 2014, it was 93% of the world's supply. That's kind of awkward. That's kind of weird. God, I'm ready to get done with this shit. This is so bad. UFOs, cool too, I guess. Project Blue Book. We got all kinds of shit. I'm going to go through all these again when I have someone here with me. But it's pretty interesting stuff. Let's see what else we got. What else is good? Tell me what else we got. Whoa, tell me what else we got here. All right, screw it. We're just going to go through presidential primaries. Okay. Only 10 more minutes, Josh. You can do this.
As you want to. Will you stay around?
See who comes out of.
Then what I suggest, until you are cleared.
Okay, yeah,
on
yeah.
the TV,
here we go.
see their president, and actually feel their blood pressure go down.
All right, we're going to talk
a little bit instead of
about
up to
when
the
I
roof.
said when they came to talk about the Russia like it was facts.
With the black community is
I don't.
Countries in the world.
I gotta find that part.
We want to get to the issue of electability and the ideological difference within the Democratic Party.
Ideologically.
You know how I am the only one in the New Hampshire debate when asked if we had a problem in together to the Senate. But I think things in Tennessee, Bernie and Elizabeth
Ric Flair's
were in the
B-Days
bottom
today?
half. It
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing
matters.
it.
Talks the best.
I need
who is
somebody.
actually
Hey, I
gets
need a
things
host
done.
so I don't have to do
Especially
this
with
shit
the
by myself. This is so hard by
African-American
myself,
community.
man.
There
It
have been a lot of
sucks so
broken
bad.
promises. And I think
Who's
having
Terry?
someone that keeps their promises and follows through and is going to get things done for people.
What's up, Terry? What's up,
matters.
dude?
And that's why.
All of the new Democrats that came in, put
Oh,
Nancy
shit. What did I just
Pelosi
do?
in charge, and gave the Congress the ability to control this president. I got them. Number two, when you talk.
Is it done? Is that it? Oh, well, shit, I must have just jumped in it. Hold on.
The last debate.
Frankly, burnt, untouched, free flirtation.
Am I missing something?
Sponsors.
Alternative that includes a vibrant, competitive private sector. No, not for the government to take over the private sector, though.
I think that was it.
American people who to see versus
Eyes into it.
Jesus, I don't care about this. I'm not
It's into
prepared
the-
for any of this. I got to waste 10 minutes. I can get this shit over with. I'm sorry it's been so terrible. I just wasn't in the mood today. This probably shouldn't be something I shouldn't be saying to y'all, but it is what it is. I want to show you more Jimmy Dore, I guess. Whatever. We'll show you more Jimmy Dore. All right, I got a poll on this. Who do y'all think is going to be the presidential nominee for the Democrats in 2020? Y'all tell me that. Riddle me this. Riddle me that. Riddle me that. What am I doing? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
People say, and Chuck, so Chuck Todd, watch this.
Here we go. Here's another one. I didn't watch this. Like I said, he's a Bernie guy.
Hey, guys, it's Chuck Todd.
So watch what he says after that poll was released. Watch this.
Well, did it? Because who's the front runner, right?
Who's the guy winning delegates?
But is he the front runner? He does certainly not get the president front runner.
Who's the front runner? I'm guessing that guy actually doesn't know. Who's the front
Sucks
runner?
so bad.
I don't
I'm
know.
so
The front
pissed.
runner would be the guy who's
All right, enough
ahead by
talking
12
about
bucks.
shit. I don't care. I want to talk about how I'm going to find studio space, and I'm going to start this back. Like, I'm going to rebrand. We're starting I say we. It's just me. I'm going to start a new podcast. New name, new logo, new brand, more structure, post more frequently, and we'll have a team. I want to invite people to be on this team. I want someone to come in. I want someone with similar enthusiasm and the excitement they have to kind of trying to think outside. I need someone that can think outside the box. You know what I mean? I need someone that kind of believes nothing, questions everything. Like, I want someone that wants to push the envelope. You don't have to believe the same things I believe politically. And if you want to become a producer type guy, where, you know, the GOAT Brian Wyckoff, he was the GOAT at it, man. He was the shit. He was the cat's pajamas. You know, come switch scenes, organize the information, the slides, the images, the tabs, everything. I need that. Basically, the one requirement I need right now from a co-host is to show up. That would probably be ideal. I'm not bullshitting anymore. I'm sick of it. I want to do this. I'm rusty as hell. I haven't done it. Let's see. I've done 2 podcasts since May of last year. So I want to do this more frequently. It's helped me out, and I don't know. It just makes me think on my toes a lot faster. Right now, I spun my wheels forever. If you want to do it, man, just look back on my page. If you want to see old episodes, I'm not all stumbling and shit. I'm not used to the way I've structured the show. Mainly is not built for a one-person thing. Like, I can't. Even though most of the time the people I had on aren't educated on the topics I want to talk about anyway, and it's kind of just me, mama bird, and feeding them shit, and they're just kind of like, oh, yeah, that's crazy. It's still, but them being there helps me flow through a conversation. So it helps, and I don't want that. I want someone that can actually fire back with an educated response where I can think and make me think and makes everyone else think as a whole. That's the whole point of this. Is like, I don't want to just spit out random bullshit. I want people to think critically, and because that's what when it comes to politics and religion, I think, you know, not think, but the main reason the 2 things you don't talk about is politics and religion is because immediately people shut you down when you have anything that is contrary to your belief as a whole, morally, religiously, anything. You automatically shell up and get defensive and just shut everything out. You don't think critically. You don't think, okay, let me hear this out. Maybe, you know, not maybe I'll believe it, but just to hear it out. Like, maybe that was a possibility. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. You literally, if you do that, you go through life with blinders. And when you watch the Democratic debate as a whole right now, if you look at it, it makes me sick. There's not one positive thing they can have in the world. You're that. Anytime I see someone just shitting and hating on Trump, like, yeah, Trump's a dickhead. He has his faults. He's got his things that he's done wrong. But to say he's not done anything right because you're that in denial about him as a whole, like, you're just as bad. Like, you shit talk this guy and this president all this time, yet you have nothing positive to say. What are you bringing to this? So he hadn't done nothing. Everything he's done is a farce. Never mind the countless attempts they've had to impeach his ass, and they finally get him one. They're like, he's so corrupt. I forgot that thing I shared when it showed like a person's conversation with a Democrat. He's like, all these crimes Trump committed should be elected. What crimes? Terrible crimes. What terrible crimes? All of them. And they can never mention because they don't know. They don't know. Because all they know is the propagandist news agencies that spread random bullshit. And I had this conversation with a news journalist, and they got real triggered by it. But I was like, I'm not talking about it. I was digging my grave because I was like, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking like mainstream people. So basically, I was like, not you, peasant, the big people. She's like, well, when you go find sources, when you get stories, you get sources, and everything's sorted and I want y'all to look on some of these like catchy or, Hail Mary articles about Trump and all this stuff. Look at the sources. That's what I love about Jimmy Dore. Since he was a journalist for the Young Turks, he actually had to source things. So he actually points out their sources, and it's hilarious. They'll name some off-the-wall headline and then be like, according to 5 people that are familiar with the topic. Not specific people, just 5 people that are familiar with the topic. And that's good enough in mainstream media and news today that something needs to be done. Someone needs to be held accountable. If I go in my job and just start ramming them out random effing facts and it just moves me up the ladder and then they find out it's not true, I'm going to get fired or get in trouble. Like, oh, yeah, you see that guy over there? He's been stealing shit all the time. Yeah, Steven, the golden snitch. Yeah, he steals shit all the time. Yeah. But then it comes out it's not true. I'm in trouble. There should be. Everything should be fact-based. There should be a damn agency just to govern this. Just like NFL. If I hit somebody illegally, I get fined. Every report you have, because how many times, I think there's 12 or more times on major things about anti-Trump fans, anti-Trump in the past 4 years they pushed out bombshell, this, and it came out to be completely false. And CNN never had to even redact it or apologize for being wrong. They just went with it. They don't do that. They just hope they can grab that tidbit of person that is not as informed as some people, and they just see, oh shit, okay, so that happened, and they hopefully you didn't see them saying, oh yeah, that's completely false. They did it with Hillary Clinton. I knew for a fact she was going to lose. We already went over this, but anyway, I'm rambling on again. I'm sorry about this shit show of an episode, and not even an episode. This was me an obligated to do it because I said I was going to go live, basically, because once again, no one showed up. So, thank you all. Until next week, I will actually do it. And I was actually 2 minutes early. So, appreciate it. And y'all have a good one.